Hello, everyone, and welcome to SCORE, Fairfield County's live webinar on social media, the best kept secret of the marketing pie. I'm Peter Talion, the webinar coordinator and a business mentor here at SCORE Fairfield County, and I will be your host. Before we get started, let me introduce Beth Stoller, the operations and event manager for the Monroe Chamber of Commerce, who will make a few comments.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everybody. As Peter mentioned, I'm Beth Stoller, Operations and Event Manager for the Monroe Chamber. On behalf of the Chamber, the Edith Wheeler Memorial Library, and SCORE, I'd like to thank you for being here today. For this Build Your Business workshop series, we're very pleased to also welcome Monroe Economic Development as a co-sponsor. This series was created in response to a survey sent out by the Chamber and the Economic Development Commission. They received over 100 replies, and now we are at week 3. We've been alternating between noon and 6 p.m. start times to accommodate everybody's different schedules. If you missed the last 2 webinars, you can go to SCORE's on-demand website to find the links to them, or you can subscribe to the Chamber newsletter. When I'm done, I will put a link in so that you can click on that and sign up for our newsletters. Our newsletters send out information about all of our upcoming events, and specifically during this 6-week time period, we share the links to the previously played and recorded webinars, as well as the upcoming ones you'll be able to register for. Last week, 2 weeks ago, we had somebody, Dr. Ileana Katulik, speak about how to turn your setbacks into success. Last week, John Dupree of Calibrate Your Marketing spoke on the difference between sales and marketing. And our next 3 topics: financing options for your small business, e-commerce, and trusted advisor, why it's so important to surround yourself with good people. Which brings me back to today. Media, the best kept secret of the marketing pie. I'm totally stoked that my friend and colleague, Lorraine Duncan, is here to speak with you about this topic. She's got many years of experience in social media, and I know you're going to get some great information here. So let me not hold this up any longer. Peter, I turn this back over to you, and I will put a couple links in the chat screen. Thanks, everybody, for attending.
Thank you very much, Beth, for outlining the services that the Monroe Chamber and its partners are providing to our entrepreneurs. First, some brief information on SCORE, which is co-sponsoring this event. SCORE has 240 offices, 11,000 volunteers nationwide. We are part of the Small Business Administration. In Fairfield County, we have 100+ volunteers with a wide range of industry, process, and subject matter expertise. SCORE offers 3 primary value-added services to small business owners. Number 1, and very importantly, free one-on-one counseling done face-to-face, telephone, email, and video, which can be accessed via the Request Mentor link on our website or via the link on the screen. Number 2, educational workshops and webinars, over 150 per year, like what we're doing right now. Number 3, very extensive resources on our website, including a network of subject matter experts at your disposal. All of this is provided to you free of charge by volunteers. We have converted some of our in-person workshops to live webinars, but we look forward to getting out and meeting all of you very, very quickly. Some useful information about today's event. If you have a question, please use the Q&A window at the bottom of the screen. We will take questions at the end of this webinar. Our webinar will end at 1 p.m. to respect your time. The session is being recorded, and the link to the recording will be available at fairfieldcounty.score.org within the next couple of days. Now I'm delighted to introduce our speaker, Lorraine Duncan. Lorraine owns a digital marketing agency that helps entrepreneurs drive their results through strategic social media marketing. She knows full well that having a social media strategy is key in your marketing pie. Her ability to integrate social media into the marketing pie is seen by her work over the years with small and mid-sized businesses. Lorraine is an author, speaker, and educator in all things social media. She is excited to share her top secret when implementing social media within the marketing pie. Lorraine, I'll now turn it over to you.
Okay, good afternoon, everybody, and welcome. Thank you to Beth, the Chamber, and SCORE for giving me this honor of being here today. And I don't take this lightly. I thank all of you out there who have joined me during your lunch period. And I want to say one thing to you. Please implement something that you've learned today. I want to start out with in the chat, not in the Q&A, but in the chat. I'd just like a few people just to say, what brings you here? What are you looking for when it comes to building your business? Okay. Marketing, what a surprise. Advertising, engagement, ideas, exposure. I need to get a better idea of how to avoid blurring the lines with my personal social media account, my business social media account. Awesome, and better marketing. Thank you for participating in that little questionnaire. Now, the next question I have for you is, could you tell me if you've ever heard of the marketing pie before? Awesome. So I've got a mixed, lot more no's than yes, but a little bit mixed than the last time I did this talk. But here's the thing. So if you have heard of the marketing pie, then just go along with everything that I'm saying. If you have not heard of the marketing pie, what I want you to do is just switch it in your head to just a marketing plan. And like always, I always love to just kind of read a little definition of something that we're going to be talking about, which is the marketing pie. So I just want to give you that definition. It says each slice of the pie is a marketing channel. The idea is the business should strive to make use of the whole pie rather than just a single slice. Now, if you've ever been somewhere and they served apple pie, you know that they're not going to give you the whole pie, but they're going to give you a slice. So today I'm going to talk a little bit about one of the best kept secrets of the marketing pie. And we're going to talk a little bit about the myths of the marketing pie. And also, you can substitute pie with plan if you'd like. Not all slices are equal. Slicing your pie and adding the social media pie and some practical ways. I want to give you some practical ways to have your pie and eat it. So a few things. Myths about marketing and the marketing pie. So here's the thing. If you've heard of the marketing pie, you fill in the little triangles or the little, the slices with something that you're going to do when it comes to marketing. And I'm going to give some examples later on in this talk, but mostly that can consist of, PR, it could consist of speaking, it consist of door to door, the bottom line is there's just not one way to a marketing pie. So the biggest myth is that, and then the other myth about it is that if you have a marketing pie or a marketing plan, you literally have to do everything in that pie every day. So I just want to relieve you of those duties. When I first went into business, I went to this business mentor and they gave us a pie, with blank, slices on it. And literally they asked us to fill that out. And when I saw that, I'm kind of a rule follower. So I put these things on the pie and every day I tried to, do this pie, do that marketing, do all that. And it was impossible. And so what I really want to say is that the marketing pie is unique. There are some components that we'll all have, but it's unique to you. So I want you to just, embrace that and say, hey, it's okay. And you're not going to do everything in marketing every day. If you're seasoned, you spend probably about 20 to 30% of your time on marketing. If you're just starting out, the bottom line is you have to spend about 80% of your time on marketing. So you want to fill out this pie in a way that it is going to strategically get you to your goal, which is ultimately getting more clients. Or if you're a product oriented, you want to sell more products. So moving forward, I want to talk about the kind of not all slices are equal to the pie. So some things like in my pie are more important than others. So here's just different versions of the pie, and I apologize that they're really small, but you can see some things like advertising in there, crisis management in one pie. As you can see, articles and SEO, which is kind of funny because both of them, and you'll see later on when I talk a little bit about integrated marketing, that those two can like feed on each other. The yellow one, which is really tiny, is mine. Basically what I use, and I do have one big slice in there because I took out print materials. And so the bottom line is, and then there's email marketing, and then there's some personal stuff. So I know somebody mentioned being able to, get around, being able to navigate the personal social media and the business social media. I'll give some tips to that too. So I just want to tell you that it doesn't have to be 8 slices, 12 slices. You don't have to have 12 things in your marketing pie. You can have 4, you can have 6, you can have 8, you can have 12, you can have 18. So I encourage you right now to think about I'm going to talk a little bit about some of the things that can be in your marketing pie. But what I want to say is I encourage you, if you're sitting at a desk and you have a paper, or if you're eating your lunch and you have a lunch bag, if they still do lunch bags, take out a pen and draw a circle. Or you could just list 1 to how many pieces of pie you want in your pie and figure out today. I'd love you to figure out what you want to be, what you want to have a part of your marketing. So the next slides I'm going to show you, I'm going to just show you this. Here's a traditional marketing pie just with 4 things and digital in the middle. There's all different kinds. And here's a bigger view of mine. And mine's a little different than this, but it was the best one that I could come up with without having to vent the whole thing over again. But this is pretty much my marketing. With the exception, I don't do a lot of print materials. In fact, this is a funny story. I traveled last week and I literally actually took business cards out of my box and brought them with me, which I haven't done in a while because we've been meeting on Zoom. So anyways, long story short, whatever that looks like for you, I don't have money off coupons either, but I do have QR codes and codes that give money off. So this is just some of the marketing pie. There's others that are unique to you. So in the chat, I would love, as you look at this one and you think of your own marketing and your own marketing plan, if you developed one. A lot of people have, by the way, a lot of people have to do a marketing plan when they go to the bank to get a loan. So the bottom line is you probably have some of these key components. And so maybe in the chat, just write a little bit about what are some things that are going to be in your marketing pie. By the way, a blog is a great thing because for a social media person too, because then they have content and you can just go off the content as a social media person. So awesome. Now I'm saying everything. Don't be shy. Nobody can see you. We could just see what you're writing. All right. This is awesome. So I'm just going to say a few of the things. I saw print advertising, networking, blogging, articles, advertising, open houses, events, networking, tons of different stuff, funnels, SEO. This is great. And email. Don't ever forget email. Even though I'm not talking about email today, don't forget it. Remember, when somebody goes into their email box, they have to delete that email. So there's a still chance, even when they're going about deleting that email, that they're going to open it. I've opened many of emails that I'm going to delete. So do not leave that out of your marketing pie. So as we move forward, slicing your pie, adding the social media piece. The social media piece is a really big piece. I want to just share some other stuff that this was sort of the traditional one years ago, where they had print advertising, TV commercials, radio, announcements, sponsorships. And it's funny, if you fast forward to today, what do we have? We have, we still have TV commercials, of course, and we do have brochures still, and we have radio, but now we have podcasts, and there's announcements, and there's definitely sponsorships going on. So if you see this and you look at all these words like on the slide right now, you realize that we've come a long way in our marketing, but still we do go back to the original traditional. Here's some just fun stuff here. If you're a public relations person, public speaking, networking, press releases, word of mouth. Nobody put word of mouth, but you know what? Word of mouth is the best way to market yourself. If you do an amazing job or you have an amazing product out there, word of mouth is going to get you so much further than any other piece of marketing that you can have. So don't forget to add that. Some direct marketing. Here comes the scary stuff, direct mail. But the real scary one is cold calls. I talked to somebody the other day on the phone that still does cold calling. Guess what? It has its place. So if you're someone who always has to be talking to someone new, cold calling could be an option in your marketing pie. And of course, door-to-door sales. Oh, who does that anymore? Seriously. Definitely you could put that in the chat, because I want to know if somebody out there is doing door-to-door. So of course, the biggies now is website, blog. All of you have mentioned this: social media, email marketing, search engine optimization, all very important, especially if you're marketing online and you're fully digital. So I'm going to move over right now to practical ways to have your pie and eat it. And so what I want to say before I say anything is that I feel that we mentioned a lot of things here today, and so many people did mention social media, but a lot of people didn't. In today's world, social media should be the first thing that is mentioned, not because I'm a social media person. Truth be told, sometimes I don't even like social media, but the bottom line is that the only way to get yourself out there in today's world is to be very present on social media. So it's the best kind of marketing that you could possibly do. So I want to bring it to sort of a full circle, because I'm not I don't only do social media. And what I mean by that is, if you saw my pie, there's so many more things to my pie that I do. And so I want to say, first of all, that I feel that it's very important that if you're doing social media, that you're doing the other stuff too. And so one of the things that I think that you should be doing is, of course, networking. And I'm going to get into that just a little bit later. And by the way, I talk fast, so we're going to have a lot of time for Q&A. And the other thing we're going to have time for is to make sure that you put your questions and answers in the Q&A. So don't forget that, because we're not going to be looking at two things, the chat and the Q&A. But here's the thing. With social media marketing, you have to have the other stuff. And I'm going to actually show you how to integrate that. So integrate is the key word here to the best kept secret of social media marketing, integrated marketing. And it's just that what I want to say about that is, for me, like digital marketing, it's not the be all end all. It's not the only thing out there. You have to be doing other stuff. And it also combines social media marketing, for instance, combines so much with other marketing avenues. And you're going to see, I'm going to demonstrate this really good for you. So I'm going to show you this. This is my QR code. By the way, feel free to put your phone up and take a, put your camera on, and that will give you all my information so you won't forget me. But this is the biggest integrated marketing piece that I've used this year. So I do a lot of, because of COVID, that horrible, terrible word, I literally started networking online. And so with that, I have this QR code everywhere I go. And how it integrates with everything else, I have my website on there. I have my social media platforms on there. It's like the best, seriously, it's the best thing that you can have. There's many ways that you can get this QR code. MailChimp, if you're a MailChimp user, they have one. I think Constant Contact has one. I know Infusionsoft has one. I got mine through Linktree. So mine connects right to Linktree. I will put later on, if you need more information about Linktree, it's free. Just go to Linktree, link.tr, and it will come right up, and you can set one up, and you should put that on your Instagram account. But this is just one simple way. This one QR code, for instance, integrates everything, all my marketing in one spot. So if you're spending a lot of time online, what you really want to do is you definitely want to have a QR code. That, you could put it on your background, and you could literally, as you can see on my background right now, that's what I have. So that's just one thing. I'm going to give you a few other examples that I think are kind of interesting that shows the integration even a little bit more. So marketing examples. Well, TV shows, right? They market, but so does Twitter. You could do a TV show, and then you can, I don't know if you've seen recently on commercials, for instance, they have a little QR code on the bottom, or they tell you to follow them on Twitter. How many things that have you been to where they said, hey, follow me on Twitter? Print ads, okay? Great way to integrate that with Facebook. Now, not only you could take those print ads and you can put them on Facebook. So what else can you do? You can also do ads on Facebook. So what other things? You could do direct mail, right? But then you could email your blog, right? You can then from your blog, you can put it on Facebook. And then again, word of mouth. Hey, did you hear of Lorraine at BizGone Social? No, I haven't. I'll have to check her out. Well, nobody's going to walk around and say, hey, look up Lorraine at www.bizgonesocial.com. Nobody's going to say that. But have you heard of Lorraine Duncan from BizGone Social? So what's going to happen there? Word of mouth to the website. How many times, I don't know about you, but how many times have you been somewhere and somebody mentioned someone, and then later on you Googled that name and you come up with the website? So if you think about this, all 8 of these things right now are very important to your marketing pie, but they're integrated now. So that's kind of how that works a little bit. And so I'll give you another interesting example. So here we go more. This is digital to digital example. So on Twitter, you could put a YouTube link. They click the link, they go to exactly where you want. So not only if you're trying to build your YouTube channel, basically you can use other stuff to help market. So Twitter is a great way to do that. Again, back to email. So much you can do. The biggest important thing about the email that you're sending out is what you have in your signature. I was recently told that I was missing something in my my signature. I didn't talk about how I spoke. And so I recently added that. So make sure in your email that you're sending out, if you're doing a weekly email or a quarterly email, make sure you have a really great signature, or in your personal and business email, make sure that you have a signature on the bottom. But your email then can go to Facebook. And I've said that over and over again. You could put your most recent email with trends in it, maybe, and you could put that on Facebook. Very important. People underestimate Google. And when I'm talking about Google here, there's a lot of things I'm talking about, but mainly I'm talking about Google My Business. It's kind of important. And if you're going to get reviews, you're going to get your reviews on Google. So you want to always be asking for Google reviews. You always want to make sure that you signed up for Google My Business. And again, it always leads back to the website, because when you go on to Google and you type in BizGo on social, you're going to see that my website is right there. Integrated marketing. It's the best thing when it comes to the marketing pie. And so is social media. Again, Twitter. Back to Twitter. Am I a fan of Twitter? If you've heard me speak before, you know that I spend a lot of time on Facebook, but I get most of my leads and I do most of my networking on LinkedIn. So LinkedIn is my deal. But the blog, a lot of you mentioned blog. Do you realize when you create a blog, first of all, how important it is? And I'll tell you why. Number one, if Google deems it relevant content, it becomes relevant and they will show it. And that's how you rise to the ranks. Now, there's certain other things that are involved in that, and this isn't a course on that, but get an expert on keywording and backlinking and all the other stuff that you need to do to rise to the top. Or you could pay for it. I mean, if you saw my marketing pie, I have advertising and pay-per-click. Very important. But that blog is what's going to bring you to the top because of your keywording. And what can you do with that blog? So you have the major content piece. That's the blog. And off that blog, here you go. You can make mini posts. You could do carousels on Instagram. You could do a reel with a little saying on it. There's so many things in that blog. So if you do a weekly blog, what can happen next is that you have your content for the whole week. So I get a lot of questions always about where am I going to find my content? Interestingly enough, one of the people who was talking about the Monroe Chamber, she has a newsletter that comes out, and she always has a very relevant topic. Newsletter, blog, the same thing in a sense, with a lot of major content in it. You could take some of the content from that newsletter and make those posts on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. So those are, way to integrate your marketing. And I'm really focusing really on the social media piece. Didn't talk a lot about LinkedIn. I will end it with LinkedIn. But again, a lot of you mentioned websites, for instance, okay? And honestly, if somebody's going to your website, how long are they going to stay? So for instance, you use social media to get people to your website. And then once they get to your website, then how are you getting them? You have to have something that's going to attract them, because the average person, for instance, stays about 30 seconds on a website. So if you haven't captured them, they will never come back to you. It's the same thing on Facebook, on your business page. Literally, if you haven't attracted them, if they haven't deemed you relevant, you're not going to go back to that business page. So you could, collect all the trick-or-treaters that you want. You could collect all the people that you want, have 3 million bazillion followers, but if they never come back to your business page, or they never come back to your website, you've missed the boat. So you want to have another way of capturing them. And I always call it like an introductory free offer. Sometimes it's sign up. The boring ones are actually sign up for my newsletter. You got to give them a reason for you to, to send a newsletter. So, but there's other ones, maybe infographic, something that's going to help them. And when you're thinking about this introductory free offer, because this is a way you're going to collect an email. So it works with the other piece of the marketing pie, which is your email marketing. So give them something that, give your customer, client something relevant and that's going to solve a problem. And they will become fan. If you solve a problem for someone, they are going to be raving fans. So the other thing that I want to just talk briefly about, because I'm going to show you how it integrates with social media marketing. So you go to a networking event and you meet people for the first time. And when you did it in person, what did you do? You gave a business card. I used to go around sometimes and not give business cards at all. I used to just talk to people. And so when I got home and if I did collect some business cards, I immediately connected with them on LinkedIn. So when you're online meeting people, what you want to do is you want to immediately, and this goes along with some practical tips I'm giving you. You want to just make sure that when you're networking, which should be a big part of your pie, what you want to do is you want to make sure after you meet with them for the first time, connect with them on social media. Now, this is not how to do it. You meet with them, you give them their card and spam them like forever because they gave you their card, and you spam them forever and send them email without them, giving you permission. When I used to give my card out and when we used to exchange cards, what I used to say to them, is it okay if I email you? And you'll find out right away. And if they say don't email them, don't email them. But you can connect with them on the socials. And this is what you shouldn't do when you connect with them on the socials. And I'm going to say this: buy my stuff. Don't open up a relationship with someone by saying buy my stuff. And I wanted to say something else, but I'm not, because we're online here, but you just don't want to do that. So here's another best kept secret of social media. The first word. Somebody write in the word what the first word in that phrase social media is. Write in the chat, write it down. I want to see if I'm resonating with anybody here. What is that first word? Social. Exactly. You got it. So in a sense, being social is you're creating relationships. And I mean, I thought about which way I was going to go with this. Was I going to go with the integrated marketing, or was I going to go with relationships? Because I'm big on relationship marketing. I've met so many amazing people that have given value to me, and I have been able to help them. And you can do the same thing. There's people out there that need your services, that need your help, that need your expertise. So make sure you're being social, make sure you're being relational. Guess what? The sales will happen. The sales will happen if you do those two things. Now, you may think I'm crazy. It's like, well, you have to have an ask. You do. You eventually do have to ask for something. That may not always be a sale. That may, hey, could you introduce me to someone? Hey, do you know anything about that? Hey, would you want to be part of my beta program? You could do that, but not on the first date. I have this big thing about dating, on all the things that you do and don't do on dating, although that's changed a lot nowadays, I'm sure. But when I was growing up, the big no-no was you didn't kiss on the first date. You may not even held hands on the first date. So in social media, remember, we don't know each other that good. So you don't want to go right to the kiss. So I just wanted to add that. The other thing is that a lot of people use social media for their website. Okay. Make sure that you have a website. A couple of months ago, and I don't even remember, it was either in September or October of last year, Facebook was down for, I remember it because it was in the middle of a client's biggest launch, and of course Facebook went down. But you can always adapt. When one of them go down, you just move to another one. And so I spent the day on Twitter and LinkedIn. So the bottom line is that the reason why you want to have a website is because that's yours. It belongs to you. Nobody can take it. It's your little place, and you can do whatever you want on your website. And it's a huge piece of your marketing pie. If you have a website, and I actually kind of, even though it's not called social media, it's a big part of social media, because everything I do on social media for a lot of my clients brings them to that landing page on a website, or brings them to that website. So again, as you see, it's integrated. Keyword, integrate. I mean, you need to integrate everything. So the thing is a lot of people think, oh, I'll put a website up and then I'll get business. Or I'll say I'm in business and I'll get business. Just because you build it doesn't mean they're going to come. You have to bring traffic to your business. You have to bring traffic to your website. So the best way to do that nowadays, believe it or not, is social media. You could do it organically. You won't get the same results, but you could be successful organically. You don't have to pay a lot of money for advertising. However, if you want to be really successful, you could spend money on advertising, but you got to know how to do it. So those are, again, integration, website. And I'm going to talk about one other thing as we're getting close to where I want to get to the question and answer soon, but videos. Okay. So YouTube, social media, but videos aren't just good on YouTube. You could do it on Facebook. You could do a video on Instagram. By the way, reels and stories, videos, they do excellent on Instagram. You should be doing videos. And here's the thing. I know, trust me, for me to be like, I'm here now on the screen. When I first started out, I was like nervous Nelly. You know, I just like, oh my gosh, I don't look good on screen. You know, I look like a monster or whatever. I just, you know, it was just very scary. Just do it. And I mean, I challenge you, you know, if you want to get really active in video, start small, you know, go on Facebook, do a Facebook Live, off the cuff. It's scary. You know, you could write 3 points, you know, have 3 points on the side on a sticky note and talk to those 3 points. Do that every day for 30 days. And I can guarantee you that people are going to start listening to you. So you also want to think outside of the box in marketing. Excuse me, I have to drink a glass of water. You want to think about outside the box of social media marketing. All the things on social media that you can do that's in the social media slice that we don't think of. All right, so I mentioned Facebook Live, but there's groups in LinkedIn, there's groups in Facebook, there's DMs on Instagram. That's the way you bring it to more of a social level. Hey, I saw that you wrote something on sales the other day. It was very interesting. I'm really interested in learning more about sales. Can we have a chat? It's just a reach out, a little reach out. And that's one thing that a lot of people do. I had a mentor that once told me that if you're not talking about your business or talking to someone about your business every day, then you don't have a business. So if you think, and this is sort of a little yelling at you right now, I'll be gentle though, but if you think by creating a Facebook page, creating a LinkedIn page, creating an Instagram account, creating a Twitter account, Snapchat, and all the rest, that, you know, people are going to come, they're not. You have to be involved in your social media marketing. You know, and truth be told, there really isn't any secrets. There's no magic bullet to anything. There's no magic bullet to getting rich. There's no, you know, there's no magic bullet here. All you have to do is put some time and effort where it comes to the commitment and the consistency of doing this every day until you're not doing it anymore. And you will see results. I know I'm speaking for myself here. I see results every day from my commitment and consistency. The other thing that you can dive into is be a guest on somebody's podcast. All podcasts now go on social media. I have a podcast. Feel free to reach out to me if you want to be a guest. I actually interview business owners and I showcase their business. I don't talk about myself at all. So there, I just saw this really quickly as I was peeking over online directories. So for instance, I'm on an online directory for speaking. All right, that's just one example of it. I'm actually on an online directory for leads. So whatever, you just look up directories, online directories for your specific niche. And there may be lots of them, there may be some. So you just have to check it out. I'm actually on a couple directories for speaking and doing podcasts. I'm on a podcast directory as a guest speaker. So that's just some of the things that I'm on. So I hope that answers your question. I think I about covered it all. I didn't actually, I'm going to go to questions right now, but all this to say is that make your pie what you want it to be. But don't forget the social media piece, because we are in a new century now and we have, it's going to progress so quickly. I was on a call the other day that they think that pretty soon cell phones aren't going to be around. Right now, cell phone is a good thing to have because 85% of people are on cell phones right now, and they do all their buying from cell phones. So anyways, I'm going to open it, Peter, I'm going to open it up to questions now, because we always learn by questions and answers. I hope I have them.
Very good, Lorraine. So I'll go through the questions. We've got about half a dozen questions already. So anybody on the call, excuse me, who wants to ask a question, please put it into the Q&A. The first one for you, Lorraine, how do you obtain clients through Instagram?
So it's a process. I'll tell you what I'm doing, and I don't get a whole tons of clients through Instagram, but I have gotten some, but I'll tell you how the process works. You're posting a half an hour before you post, make sure you go on and you like a bunch of people that you're interested in their stuff, because Instagram is an interactive platform. Then you want to start, you DM people that have some interesting things that they want to say, or when somebody says something of value on your post, you want to make sure you comment back. Then I do something a little different, and I didn't want to get into this a little bit, but I have a chat bot, a very integrated, I should say, intuitive is the word I'm looking for, chat bot that actually gives them something right away. So if somebody follows me, what happens is they follow me and then I send them something free that will help their business. And so the experts at Instagram, and I don't really call myself an expert, but I know a lot about Instagram and I use it for my business. The experts say you have to post 3 times a day. The experts say if you're not doing stories, reels, and carousels, you're missing out. And I will say I'm doing carousels and reels for a few of my clients, and they are getting amazing results. So don't do it all at once. Try carousels first. They're really easy. A carousel, by the way, on Instagram is about 4 or 5 pictures with little sayings on it, and then you can have content, and it just goes. It not only posts, it posts right onto your feed. Reels, it's a video, and it posts right onto your feed. Videos, by the way, as I mentioned earlier, always get more views and more response time.
And then there's a follow-up question on Instagram. How do I introduce my new business as an Instagram post?
Well, depends on your branding. You want to stay with your branding. I didn't really talk about branding and marketing because it's really important though. So you basically, first of all, don't be afraid of it. It's like, hey, I just want to, you could say, I want to make an announcement, or you could say, I'm so excited to be, opening the doors to my new gym, and, have a really nice picture. The most important thing about Instagram, though, is that you do have a nice picture. So if you have a logo and a nice picture, that goes a long way. If you check out my Instagram at BizGoneSocial, that's my handle, at BizGoneSocial, you just notice how I always put my logo on everything. And you'll see some examples of some carousels and reels and stories there too. But don't just announce it, just announce it. Just like, by the way, if you're doing a new website, announce it on social media. It's okay to announce it. That's not spamming. It's just, if you did it every day, that would be spamming. But making an announcement and making people aware of your Instagram and your business, that's fine.
Okay. My next question is, how do you balance everything and also do the social media stuff when it's a one-person operation?
You delegate. And this is not selfish on my part, because I just hired somebody for my business. You delegate. I always tell people, if you can't delegate right now, then you just do a lot of blocking of time, and take the most important thing. There's this thing in business, I think it's by Brian Tracy, it's called Eat the Frog. Take that one thing, whatever that is, whatever's going to bring you closer to your goal, and you do that first, and then do all the other stuff. I always leave free time at the end of Friday to catch up and then plan for my next week. But, I know I can relate to being a one-man show. So it's hard. And so you just have to, priorities are priorities. Don't spend 5 hours looking at TikToks, because that's not going to grow your business. I've seen this. I've been in Starbucks watching people who came with their computer to do their work. And I saw them, I was in there for about 5 hours working one day, and they were doing TikTok for 5 hours, watching TikToks. That's not going to get you anywhere. So that's what you want to do. You just want to do. And here's another tip. Everybody says you have to be on every social media platform. You do eventually. Master one first. And here's my tip to you. If you're B2B, you need to be on LinkedIn. 100%. All right. That's where you want to be. So focus your time on navigating through LinkedIn. And LinkedIn, by the way, is just a networking platform. You network, you meet people, and come out of a place of giving first, and you'll get.
Okay, next question for you. You talked about the importance of websites. What about Shopify in place of a website?
Well, Shopify, I haven't done a lot of dealings with Shopify. I did one little thing on Instagram. Cool thing about Instagram is Shopify is connected to Instagram, and Shopify also gives some marketing with it too. I don't know. I've never looked at any of the plans of Shopify, but Shopify is considered a website. But again, you can actually have a website, and you can integrate, here I go, big word, integrate your Shopify to your website. But I would talk to people who have been very successful with Shopify. And because I know I have tons of friends who have a Shopify and do not have a website. I'm just a big fan of having a website because it belongs to you.
Very good. Next question. What is a reasonable budget for marketing as a startup company?
So it depends on what you have to spend. I would put a budget together. That's, and marketing I'll give you an example. My husband's a plumbing contractor. And when he first started out, he spent 80% of his profits on marketing. Some people don't have 80% because they have to but I worked. So it's so I worked. So we both had that going into it. Sometimes you don't have that second income, or you don't have the funds. So you want to start out with everything that you can do free for first, and sometimes free isn't always better, but look at some of the platforms that are free, that are good. Social media marketing is free in the beginning. to get better at it, you do eventually have to hire somebody. I would say, I spend, oh gosh, so I buy leads too. So there's a whole, I would say that I spend probably about $1,000 to $2,000 a month on marketing. If you're just starting out, maybe 200 to 300, and I would market to the website. I would do a pay-per-click or a Google AdWords campaign, which is expensive, and get somebody who's Google AdWords certified. Don't go for cheap there, because it will be like gambling. It'd be like putting your money into a slot machine. You want somebody who's Google AdWords certified.
Okay.
That's my suggestion. But you want to make sure that you're making profit. I once heard that you always pay yourself first. For the first year in business, I did not pay myself. So, and I'm just being honest, I didn't pay myself. And the second year, I think I made 1 penny, just saying. So it's hard work.
Couple of clarification questions for you, Lorraine. One of our listeners asked, what do you mean by signature?
Oh, okay. So on the bottom, have you ever gotten an email from somebody where on the bottom of it, it has their name, their website, and then they have some social media icons? That's an email signature. And you could do a generic one inside of your email. Like, so if you have Gmail, they have settings where it will say email signature. You just go in there and they have a box. You fill in that box the way you want to. Maybe you could put a little bit of emojis in there. I actually use something. I use I'm going blank. To make it more prettier, I use an email signature company, and I'm sorry, I'm going blank. I can't remember the name of it.
Okay, another question about something you talked about. You use the acronym WOM, W-O-M.
Yeah, it's word of mouth.
Okay. Now a question about social media more broadly. How can someone like myself, who tends to get very overwhelmed, intimidated, and just put off by social media, as it sometimes feels a little impersonal and flooded with a great deal of information, how does a person like that get started on using social media?
Yeah, I just curious, are you business to business?
The question doesn't say, so let's assume it's
All
business
right.
to business.
So if you're business to business, I'd say get started on LinkedIn. Get comfortable using the platform. Start reaching out to people you know. I'm actually an open networker, but I have rules around that. But I connect with everyone as long as they have a full profile done, a full picture, and they have like over 500 people and they're active. Now, the first thing you want to do with any social media platform getting started out with is make sure you complete that profile. So that's the first thing you do. So if your business so that would be what I would suggest. Start out on one. I would post something. I actually now, in the beginning when LinkedIn first came out, LinkedIn wasn't a place where you posted every day. Now, LinkedIn is not a place to post your dinner or your memes or anything else. You want to post relevant content, things that are going to help people move forward. And you could do videos too. You could do videos, integrate videos on there too, but to do live, you actually have to get accepted by LinkedIn. If you're business to consumer, I honestly feel the same. The platform to be on is Facebook. So what I'm saying is just do one platform for now. Get it, know it, and get proficient at it, and then move on. If you are the type that gets overwhelmed. Now, if you're ADD like me and crazy, literally what you want to do is you could go on everyone, but then you have to master them all at once, and then you're going to get overwhelmed. So that's very important to know when you're going to just start out with one. And if you have a website, I strongly recommend making sure that you have a blog attached to the website and blog, do something. And that's where you can get your content or your knowledge and expertise. You know, make a calendar. Here's the thing, you will not get overwhelmed if you have a calendar, a social media marketing calendar. I'm going to post, maybe you're going to start out small. I'm going to post Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. But here's the deal. If you don't post at least once a week, you will be invisible. So you don't want to be invisible.
Okay, we have a clarification question. You used the term funnel. One of our listeners asked, what is funnel?
Funnels are very important in automation. So I'll give you an example. You go to my website, you sign up for my freebie that's on my website, Overwhelm. That goes into a funnel, and then you get a series of emails of getting to know me. And then on the last email, or this, I don't even know what's there anymore, but it's kind of funny. On the last email, there's a call to action. And so it could be 6 to 8 emails. That's one way of doing it. Another funnel is that you'll see it all the time on Facebook. You sign up for a challenge that goes to a landing page. From the landing page, they get your name and email. You get a series of emails reminding you day 1's today, day 2's today, day 3's today. And then at the end of the challenge, a call to action goes out. So you're not doing call to actions all the way through that email series. You're doing it maybe at the end. But remember, eventually you do have to ask for something. So when you get all those emails and you think that people are being pushy and stuff, well, what would be a sense of sending an email if you're not going to ask for something eventually? It would be like a waste of time and marketing. Hope that clarifies funnels. There's all kinds. Some people make it very complicated and they have maps. Like I have a chatbot funnel, and that's pretty complicated. So it's horrible. It took a long time to do.
Well, we're coming to the end of our hour. Lorraine, do you have any closing comments before we kind of wrap things up?
Yeah, just thank you again for listening to me. If there was something that you need more clarification on, and I'm very personable, you can reach out to me. Hopefully you just you did put your phone up to the QR code, but you can get in touch with me at Lorraine@bizglensocial.com. Feel free to reach out to me and just start somewhere, but don't ignore it, because social media isn't going away. It really is here to stay. So make sure that you are utilizing everything you can to boost your business and build your business.
Well, thank you very much, Lorraine. I would like to thank the Monroe Chamber of Commerce, the Monroe Economic Development Commission, and the Monroe Library in planning this webinar with SCORE, which is the third in a series of 6 webinars. The 4th webinar in this series will be on March the 10th at 6 o'clock in the evening with Louis Silva from Connecticut Investment Corporation. As a reminder, a recording of this webinar and materials will be available within a couple of days on the Fairfield County.score.org website. We also recommend that you check out the website for the Monroe Chamber of Commerce, which is monroectchamber.com. Again, let me emphasize that SCORE offers free individual counseling, so please use the link on the screen or visit our website and click Request a Mentor. We are available for sessions by phone, email, video, and very soon in person. And finally, we would ask that you fill out the evaluations that will be sent to you at the end of the webinar. These evaluations are very important in terms of how we plan our content, and it's great feedback for our presenter. I'd like to thank all of you for attending SCORE's live webinar. A big thank you to Lorraine for presenting, and I wish everybody a very, very nice day. Thank you.